This is In My Lounge Room, and I'm your host, Sky.
And I'm your other host, Damo, and on today's episode, we're talking about toxic or fragile masculinity. Hey Sky, how you doing?
Oh, look, you know, everything's happening. Life's great, isn't it?
Oh, of course. Well, you're alive, right?
Yeah, totally alive. Yeah.
So that's all good. We're recording from our own residences today.
We are. We've only done this once before, or we've done it and that was
we've done
twice.
It twice. Yep.
Twice now. I still love it so much.
Yeah. So we've spent the last 40 minutes.
Oh, I don't know. Where you're like, did you save it? And I'm like, I'm sure I saved it.
Yeah. Well, you did save it.
Yeah.
You just don't know where.
It's a mystery.
And that's whatever. It's all good. We'll make it work. So it's always there. We figured out a bunch of episodes ago, we figured out that Reaper will automatically save each individual WAV file for us. So that's what you've sent me. So that'll do. It's not what I wanted, but I'll work with it.
That's okay.
So that's all good. I can put it together. So so that'll be last week's episode. So we're recording on the 21st today. So this episode won't actually be out until a week from now.
That's a shame because I feel like this one is so important, but okay.
Yeah, no, that's all right. We'll catch up. But I mean, that happens. I suppose that's the thing. When we record and we release in the same week, we can be topical. So we can, and also I know you do. You forget about what we've spoken about, and then
I totally forget. And then you're like, we talked about this. I'm like, no, we didn't. You're like, yes, Guy.
Yeah, and then when we listen to I of course listen to it a whole bunch of times when I'm doing the editing and shit.
That's true.
And then I once I give it to you and you upload it, and then you'll listen to it, and I'll listen to it again once it's on Spotify.
Yeah.
Just to get those stats.
Totally.
Because, we're not a huge podcast. We don't have thousands of fans.
Well, apparently some people think we do.
Well, I guess those people are giving us lots of props, which is great. But they're obviously doing it because I don't know what you're talking about. So let's address the elephant in the room.
Let's do it.
People would have seen, and it'd be like when this comes out, be a week and a half, 2 weeks since this happened.
Easy.
But as everybody knows, we talk about people in our lives. We reference people's experiences.
We do.
In a very vague, ambiguous way. Sometimes we might mention specific things that they've done, but we don't ever mention their name.
Never.
We don't mention where they live or where they work or anything like that,
or what they look like.
No, or how we know them.
Yeah.
We don't mention how we know them, unless it's like a screenshot from a website. I mean, from a post on Facebook or something, then we can say this came from Facebook. But generally speaking, well, actually not generally speaking, categorically speaking, we don't say who they are. Now, I've mentioned Nathan's name because he's a mate, and he didn't give a shit. I would give him shout outs because I'm not talking about private shit in his life. Also, just on that, if I was to talk about something detailed and private that Nathan had told me or experienced, I wouldn't say it was him.
So I mentioned my sister, mainly as my sister sometimes with her name, but she knows that. She knows that. Yeah.
And our friend Sarah, she knows that we talk about her, but we change her name.
Correct.
And there are people that listen to the show who we've spoken about who don't even know we've spoken about them. So they'll listen to the show and they'll be like, oh, that's an interesting experience that person had. Sounds similar to what I've experienced. And it's like, we're actually talking about you. So we had an instance or an incident where you told a story about somebody that you know without mentioning names or anything specific.
No names.
And they outed themselves as it being about them. Now, they did that publicly.
Yeah. So, and not just that, they were fine about it until the person they were dating was not fine about it. And then they were not fine.
Yeah, because we've obviously talked about interactions that they've had that she's obviously told you supposedly in confidence. However, like you said, it was that the episode that we mentioned her was live for like 3 or 4 weeks, and she had heard it before she turned around. So, not going to criticize that. It's people's, if she wants to take it down, that's fine. But the thing is, like you said, we have 60 regular listeners.
Yeah, that's about it. We are not making millions here. We love that. I loved it, but we're not making millions.
And so that's 60 complete strangers to this person who wouldn't know her from a bar of soap.
Correct.
Yet, obviously, she thinks that, I don't know, we've made her famous, I suppose. I don't know. No one knows her, but
apparently her mum was really upset, and her best friend.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure that she's like showed them. They don't listen to the show.
No, I don't think they'd
and
listen
even
to it
if
before.
they do, then great. So I mean, apologies to this person.
Yes.
For upsetting her, or upsetting the guy that she's dating, because obviously I've said some things. We're not going to talk. We can't talk about what happened because we'll just get more messages asking us to remove this too.
That's right.
But yeah, so obviously I said some things about, like, from my perception, which I'm allowed to do. I didn't make any judgments. I just perceive things and then I comment. And another thing is, we like to think we're pretty funny.
We are hilarious.
So we make jokes about things.
Now, we joke about ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, and we're not comedians.
What?
Right? But,
here we are.
I know, right? But have you ever watched stand-up comedy?
Yes.
Okay, what do comedians do?
Take the piss.
They take the piss. So we're really sorry, right? I mean, if you've ever seen Ricky Gervais at the Golden Globes or whatever, so the way he carries on, it happens. Or we've got like Chris Rock with Will Smith. He did cop a slap in the face.
He
but
did.
At the end of the day, look, apologies that it made you feel criticised, or it made you feel like the whole world now knows your story. But unfortunately, the whole world doesn't know your story, because our 60-odd listeners who heard it still don't know who you are.
No, have no idea.
However, she did post on our Facebook page, like, explaining herself.
She did.
And then, I deleted it because I'm like, well, the whole point is you want to be private. So why post saying it's you? Yeah. Because now you have breached your own privacy. We haven't actually done that because we didn't say any names. And I said some shit about their relationship that was probably a bit critical. But, and I apologise that if you feel it went too far. But you outed yourself on our Facebook page, and if anyone read that, they now know it's you. But no one knew it was you. Not a soul.
No one. Yeah.
So, but anyway, I deleted the post because I was like, well, I deleted her comment because I thought, I don't want people, I just don't think it's appropriate for people to actually know who she is.
No.
And so I deleted it. But anyway, we'll move on from that.
Yeah.
We will try our best in the future to be as ambiguous as possible. Now, Karen has said she couldn't give 2 shits if we mention her name. In fact, she wants us to, because the shit that she gets in her DMs and whatnot is fucking
level.
Abysmal sometimes.
Yeah.
So and so we have read some of Karen's DMs, but everyone else, unless you've said, use my name, and we have people who've said, look, I don't give a shit, say who I am.
Well, even the guy that I've been dating lately, he's even like, totally say my name.
Did he hear last week's episode when we were talking about Snapchat?
Yeah, and fine.
So and going back to last week's episode, we spoke about flags, and even though chatting on Snapchat is a yellow flag, him being cool with us talking about it is a fucking big fat green flag, double waved. So
totally,
you, mate. So thank you very much for being cool about it. But at the same time, we haven't really spoken about anything bad about him, so I don't know. And I don't have any bad words to say about him, and I'm sure you don't because you're dating him at the moment. So.
No, so far I've got all positive things to say. Yeah. So and I'd like that to continue.
Yeah,
I'd like that to continue.
So Damo over here isn't going to be a prick. Even though person from previous story who shall remain unnamed by us. Anyway, she can name herself on our Facebook as much as, well, she can't anymore. But
no, she can't even on my messenger because
no, because she blocked you. But
she
anyway,
has blocked me. It's fun and games. This is what it's like being a celebrity.
Maybe, but like she took it personally. We didn't mean it personally. We tried to be as vague and ambiguous as possible. We'll continue to do that. We have had instances in the past where we did put an episode up and we told someone's story who they told us to tell the story. But they messaged us and said, tell this story. We told the story, but then when they listened to it, they actually went, you know what? I feel that might put me in danger if the person who this story relates to ever hears it. Now, they're under no illusions that nobody, we're not have a wide listenership. But you don't know. Once things are on the internet, they stay there forever. And 3 years from now, he might stumble across this episode. And if that puts her in danger, then so be it. But that's a bit different. That's a bit different than, the guy I was seeing wasn't happy that you guys pulled the piss out of him. Sorry, but this is a podcast. And I know that it comes under relationships in the categories. But we think we're bloody funny.
We are funny.
And we've had people tell us we're funny. So, it's like we have people tell us we're good looking and funny. So we're going with it.
Totally.
We're going with that.
That's what I tell people now when they're like, well, tell me a bit about yourself. I'm good looking and I'm hilarious.
And I'm hilarious, yes. Just ask me.
All right.
So anyway, that's enough about that.
Okay.
We're not going to be talking about that anymore, but we're not famous.
We're not famous.
You're not famous. The people out there, you're not famous. If you're a celebrity and we told your private business, everyone will know who you are, but no one knows who you are. And now they're not going to hear your story, so don't worry about it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
Cool. But that brings me to... just one thing I wanted to say. Because, I was talking about, I feel like I've interrupted you 6 times in the last 4 minutes, and I do apologise for that.
I knew you had a lot to say, so I've just sort of been letting you go. So go.
But talking about, current events, and this is now going to be a week behind. So yesterday... The JWST, which is the James Webb Satellite Telescope, has taken a photo of their largest image yet. So that's been up in space now for a few weeks and taking all these wonderful photos. But it's taken this photo of some galaxies really, 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 really far away out on the edge of the universe, okay?
Yeah.
And so it's widely established in the scientific community that 14 billion years ago, the world was a hot, dense mess. And then it started expanding, courtesy of the Big Bang, right?
Yeah.
14 billion years ago. That's been established since the theory was established in 1931. However, this photo that they published yesterday has been analysed by some scientists who have just gone, ooh, now this is awkward because those galaxies out there on the edge of the universe are way older than 14 billion years.
Ooh.
So maybe... the Big Bang didn't happen like we thought it did.
Ooh.
So it looks like they're about to debunk the Big Bang Theory and 90 years of scientific theory is about to go out the window.
I feel like you need to have a da-da-da.
Bum, bum, bum. But one thing is the fear is that religious zealots are now going to go, see, told you so, God created the universe.
God's amazing.
No, he didn't. There's still some scientific phenomenon that went on, some massive explosion. Something happened, but it didn't happen 14 billion years ago, and it might have just been some slow thing. But the universe is expanding, and yeah. So there you go.
Okay, my turn.
That's my news for the week. What's yours?
Frio are in the finals. Woo!
Okay, looks like I'll be dropping the peak meter on that one.
You have to. So we have a home final against the Bulldogs. So tomorrow tickets go on sale, which is the 22nd. So this is, I would have already been at the game by the time this goes live.
Was that as a result of other teams, was it the Carlton and...
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought we were going to get 4th. We didn't, which I'm actually glad about because 4th would have meant playing Geelong.
So... You're 3rd, yeah? I say you.
No, we're 5th. We're you, me.
5th?
We're fifth. We're fifth.
Okay. I don't pay any attention.
So let's just do a quick AFL recap. So Geelong are on top of the ladder. Yeah.
We need a sound effect for that too. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
So Geelong are on top of the ladder with Melbourne a third, and they're going to play. So Geelong will play Melbourne. Anyway, Sydney will play Brisbane because they're the top four. Freo will play Western Bulldogs at I nearly said Subiaco Oval. No, that's a long time ago.
No.
At Optus Stadium. So,
that Subiaco Oval, or Patterson Stadium as it was then known, is a car park now, yeah?
Yes. So they won't be playing there. They'll be playing at Optus. So, yes.
And for the West Australian listeners, of which 99% of our people are, we do have some people over east because we have received messages from people who live over east.
Overseas listeners
and we have overseas listeners. Where do the Eagles finish up?
Oh, they finished last. I think, or maybe second last, but either way.
They're not in the top 8. So
let me just go to my AFL app because I'm such a footy nerd. Look, they may actually have finished. Let's just check that. Oh, sorry, they finished equal last. Really, by 4% that they came second last. So really last.
Yeah. Okay. So. When you're not last on percentage, I like that rule. It's like, oh, yeah, we're second last. Yeah, on percentage. They're as
bad as North Melbourne. Yeah. So, anyway, good times for Freo. So just so we clear the other game. Sorry, okay. So Geelong will play Collingwood. Melbourne will play Sydney. Freo will play the Bulldogs. And the Lions will play Richmond. That is, So Freo will play the Bulldogs at Optus. So my sister and I are going to be trying to get tickets to that.
Yep. Sounds good. So, speaking of football and manly stuff,
yes.
We did put a post out. Well, I put a post out last week. And obviously, the reason I put the post for what is your example of toxic masculinity is because in the story we told before about the person who shall not be named, as you said, it did appear that the boyfriend was the most offended.
Yes.
And then has told her how to feel.
Pretty much.
We shouldn't speak about this because we'll get attacked again.
Yeah.
But anyway, so toxic masculinity, I put it out there. So what does toxic masculinity mean to you? Now, I have some websites open in front of me, so I have what toxic masculinity means to experts. But what does toxic masculinity mean to you?
To me, as in Sky?
As in Sky. I don't see anyone else here. Actually, there's no one else here. You're in a little box on my laptop.
I am, yeah. Toxic masculinity means in my opinion, it would mean when people use their gender or the fact they are the superior sex to manipulate and influence the people around them, whether that's their partner or friends.
Yep.
That
sounds good. Now, I'm not going to tell you what I think it is because I'm reading it and that will bias my opinion. But I'm going to tell you what I'm reading here. Okay. Toxic masculinity involves cultural pressures for men to behave in a certain way, and it's likely that this affects all boys and men in some fashion. Toxic masculinity refers to the notion that some people's idea of manliness perpetuates domination. I'm going to say that word again. It's domination, not domination. Domination, homophobia, and aggression. It's characteristics of the unspoken code of behaviour among men in prisons, apparently, where they exist as part of a response to the harsh conditions, and that's like it's self-reliance and emotional repression with increased psychological problems in men, such as depression, increased stress, and substance use disorders. Toxic masculine traits are characteristics, like I said, as unspoken code of behaviour among men in prisons. So, traditionally masculine traits, devotion to your work, pride in excelling at sports, providing for your family, right?
Yeah.
These are not toxic.
No.
Okay? Toxic is when you're using your masculinity to promote things like violence, sexual assault, domestic violence, the socialization of patriarchal societies often normalizes violence, such as in the saying, well, boys will be boys when it comes to bullying and aggression. Can we just break down the boys will be boys?
Yes.
Do you hear that? Because, man, you've got boys.
Yeah, all the time. And it's one of my pet hates because it implies that boys can get away with being aggressive towards whoever they want, to being, to play fighting, to just having no respect for women. And to also, and basically implying that my boys should just be loud, brash, and not give a shit about anyone but themselves.
So when you have men, out in public, they have a few beers and then, someone looks at them wrong. So therefore they have to fire up and a fight ensues.
Yeah.
That is one of the classic depictions of toxic masculinity, because when they were kids and they got into little tussles and stuff, it was, well, boys will be boys. And it was allowed. So when you grow up, like, fighting's not necessary or cool. It's entertaining in, like, I like watching MMA and boxing, nothing wrong with that. And, WWE, that's entertaining. It's violent as hell. By definition, it's entertaining. I'm not really into it, but it's still entertaining.
It is entertaining,
But idiots at pubs punching on, puffing up their chests and that kind of thing, trying to be manly, that's toxic. That's not masculinity, that's toxic.
It's hard. Look, I won't lie. When my boys are having a bit of a fight, I'll let them go because, it's funny to watch, to see who.
Look, let's face it, one is big and one is small. And we're not talking like slightly smaller.
One weighs about 41 kilos and one weighs about 27 kilos.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a difference. And I let them go for a little while because it's fun to watch. But then I always stop it and we talk it out.
Yeah.
So, but it is fun.
But yeah, get them some gloves and do it in a sanctioned manner. And then, like, one might actually punch the snot out of the other one to the point where they're like, this isn't that great.
No.
But, yeah, when it comes down to that, it's I'm just manlier than you. That's toxic. Now, acceptable qualities of masculinity. Now, there's some terms to describe masculine characteristics of men. What positive masculine words?
Strong. I don't know. I can't. Positive masculine words.
Like handsome is a word we use to describe men. Like, strong, as you said.
Yeah.
Determined, but women can be determined as well. Women can also be strong.
Funnily enough, like, you think of the word fierce and I think of females, don't you? Yeah.
I think of RuPaul.
Yeah. I think of me.
I think of drag queens when I think fierce.
Yeah, okay. So it's definitely like more of a like feminine sort of.
It is.
Yeah.
So
okay.
But yeah, it's masculinity is basically a set of attributes and behaviours and roles associated with men and boys.
Like one word actually that I think of is probably like protector, because I think, like historically men are the protector of their family. And I suppose we still think of it in that way. Like, that's why we tend to see, the man be the breadwinner, the female, and that's why the females often stay home with babies, etc. So I think we're moving away from that now, which is good.
Yeah. I mean, there's societal constructs of masculinity. Okay. And there's different levels of it. Like machismo, for example, is a form of masculinity that emphasizes power and often associated with a disregard for consequences and responsibility. So when someone's got that machismo, it's like, I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to climb the high thing or jump off the thing or go really fast. That's a pretty man thing, There are women who love doing that kind of stuff. Yeah. But for the most part, men do the stupid shit.
They really do. They do a lot of stupid shit. Yeah. I have 2 boys.
Yeah. But that's not toxic.
Okay, can I just quickly tell you what happened today?
Yes, please.
So my best friend was over with her 2 boys, right? And they're like playing outside, and we were just sitting having a bit of a chat and a bit of a just enjoying just being with my friend. And then we were both like, it's very quiet. Anyway, we go around the corner. They've all got their penises out comparing sizes. Now keep in mind there's 2 9-year-olds and 2 6-year-olds.
Oh, so there's no Tommy Lees in that group.
Oh my God, no. Oh
That's
my, I just
funny.
couldn't believe it. Yeah. And we're like,
So how did you react? Because I would piss myself laughing.
we did. We laughed and then we were like, that's enough. We don't need to be comparing penis size right now. And then we're both just like, oh my God.
Wait till you're old enough to afford a car and do it that way. Like, who's got the loudest engine?
Exactly. I just think it's hilarious. It was so quiet. You know, you just know when there's 4 boys and suddenly it's like dead silence, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, and we've had when Billy is hanging out with the 2 boys.
Yeah.
And just how different the noise levels are between her and them.
Yes.
Boys are just different.
Very.
I'm surprised because, like, one, there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
All right. So, of course, it's going to be louder. They bounce off each other. So, Billy doesn't have that. She's just got herself.
Yeah.
But she's like, Dad, those boys are really full on. I'm like, yeah, I know. Boys are like that. So,
yeah. And it's, remember, they're like with a single mum. So it's not like they've got this ultra like masculine person with them all the time. It's just me.
Yeah.
And they are just naturally crazy loud boys. Like, yeah.
There's another thing, like, when it comes to masculinity, do you think that masculinity, like positive masculinity, is something that is usually used to describe straight men to the detriment of, like, the assumption that gay men aren't masculine, which I think is a big pile of bullshit.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Some gay men can be quite effeminate, but they're still quite masculine.
Yeah, I don't think it matters straight or gay. Like I find some straight men quite effeminate. Like they might be, but they're just, they might just, they're not into playing sport, but they're still straight men. Like, yeah. So, and I think the idea that you need a male role model to be masculine is bullshit.
No, that's right. And like, I've got a gay friend who, they cross-dress. They have a very effeminate voice sometimes, but when you look at them, they look masculine. Sometimes they don't want to look masculine, but unfortunately there's still an underlying tone of masculinity. When they go full drag, that masculinity kind of gets pushed down, but they still have their underlying masculinity, which is great. But masculinity can also be like your appearance.
Yeah.
Okay, so myself, I'm large, fairly muscular. I have a fairly strong jawline.
Yep.
Lot of hair.
Yes.
It's grey now, but I have a good head of hair.
You
I have
do?
stubble.
Yes.
People would say you look quite masculine. There's nothing wrong with that. So I think, like, there's this. It's one of those kind of people get offended by the term toxic masculinity because they say it's not toxic to be masculine.
No
one said it is.
No, and can I just also point out that as a female who lifts heavy weights, I have been told what I do is masculine and that lifting weights will result in me looking more masculine.
Yep.
Clearly not.
No, absolutely not. I think that... Sorry, just taking my glasses off to rub my face. Get back to the microphone. I think that, that's even going so far as to say that, going back to WWE or fighting, right? The women that fight, people will say, oh, that's very masculine, that's manly. It's not. They are still women.
Correct.
There's a traditionally masculine-dominated or male-dominated sport, but that doesn't make it masculine, just like women who play AFL.
Yes.
A traditionally male-dominated sport, but there is nothing masculine about women playing football.
No, it's just fucking awesome.
Yeah, they're still women. They're doing some hard shit.
Bloody oath out. And to be completely honest, like I love that women play AFL now, but they're never going to match a male in the AFL because men, they are always going to be stronger, taller, faster because genetically that's just how it is. But it's still awesome watching women play AFL.
Yeah, and then one of the one of the descriptions that I've found of toxic masculinity is it's involving the need to aggressively compete and dominate others. Okay, and we're not talking in a sporting arena because aggressively competing is often what you need to do to win, but not to the point where you have to belittle others when you do win. That's a little toxic. But it's more like in society just needing to put people down. Like it's, and yes, we were making fun of people and we've done that, but being, using your masculinity to put people down is different to pulling the piss out of people on a podcast because you think it's funny. That might be toxic, but it's got nothing to do with us, you know, with my masculinity.
No, definitely not. No. Look, I don't know. I think that you see toxic masculinity, or you see forms of that often in more of domestic violence situations, or like definitely emotional abuse, where they use that masculine role to make the woman feel less than.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And men do it to each other as well.
Yeah, that's true.
But there's, really, there's nothing wrong with being masculine.
Nothing.
That's not what anyone's saying. But there is a line where you know, and like I said, it comes to that kind of that need to put others down, this need to fight, need to now see the boys showing each other their penises. That's funny. But if
funny.
If they do that out in the world, and they do it to women,
that's not funny.
That's not funny.
Yeah, and like we've said that to them, and in fact, there was a situation a week or two ago where Benjamin and Joshua were doing. They just like to compare, and they were in the car, and I lost it, and I went, "That is officially going too far because if an adult did that." That's flashing. That's illegal. You cannot do that. And it's just learning what you can and can't do. Because at home I'm so relaxed about nudity and this and that that I've taught them that it's just a body. But then I have to remind them it is just a body at home with people that trust you and love you. But out in a car, you can't just be like, hey, you just can't.
Right. It seems to be people are being more understanding of the concept when it's been kind of pushed back on in the past, as I said, because there's been a lot of, there's nothing wrong with being masculine. Well, I mean, I know I'm repeating myself, but there isn't anything being wrong with masculine.
No.
But there is something wrong with using your masculinity against others, or just, I mean, it's hard. I mean, it really is quite narrow.
Yeah.
You know? But the thing is where, like, if you don't stop with this boys will be boys thing, with boys doing things like, you know, the pulling of the pigtails at school, or the, the snapping the girl's bra and stuff like that, and then just those little bits of thing, it can lead to, if it's unchecked, it can lead to behaviours such as bullying or bad school discipline, jail or prison time, domestic violence, sexual assault, risky behaviours, like we said, substance abuse, suicide, psychological trauma, lack of friendships and genuine connections. I'm obviously reading a list here.
Clearly.
But it's it is something that, rather than saying, oh, look, that's all right because that's what boys do, we do need to kind of, and it's a responsibility of men to go, hey, that's not cool. It's just like that locker room talk, like, that assumption that when men get together with men, they've got to make comments about women. And it's happened to me heaps where, like, as soon as there's no women around, men get into that kind of, oh, you should have seen the tits on that, or, or a girl will walk past, and when they're not looking is to, like, kind of just be vulgar behind their backs. Now, I'm not saying women don't do this either, but it seems to be women do it because they like what they're seeing. Like, a woman will say, oh my God, how's the bulge on that guy, or whatever, because it's impressive, not because they want to be dominating. Men do it because they want to assert their manliness. and, I'd fucking do this to her and whatever. And it's like, they talk about that whole, see, because that's another thing is like that sense of you're doing something to that, and when I'm talking about sex, it's like, generally speaking, there's two people involved. There's often more. Any less than that, it's, you do whatever you want to yourself.
Right.
That's your business. But when there's two people involved, right? So that idea of like, I'm going to do this to you is kind of antiquated because it's like we're going to do this to each other or with each other, not that whole level of dominance is not them saying that's toxic masculinity because that takes a whole nother. We're not talking about dominance in the sense of kink.
No.
That's a whole different story. You do whatever you want consensually. But that attitude of women are not important, that's toxic.
I think I've told the story of when a couple of times when I was in Bali on business and with a friend in which a male definitely used the fact that he was a stronger person than me. I wouldn't call it rape, but I would say it came very close to that because I had no ability. And in the end, I suppose it was rape, really. It was the point where that masculinity, that strength was used to the fact that I had to just go along with what was going on. And it was a scary experience being in a foreign country.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on from toxic masculinity, because we've kind of established that that's basically using your masculinity to dominate others and, put others down or whatever. What about fragile masculinity?
Oh. Okay.
Okay, so what do you think of that?
I feel like that's just men today, because they're so. I'm sorry, I'm going to go on a rant now.
Go.
Okay. Feminism scares the shit out of men because they don't understand it, right?
Yep.
Because they think that a feminist is trying to stop men from doing anything and we just want to take over the world. And you know what we want? We want equality. That's
wow. Hold on. That's just... sorry, you want to be treated as an equal?
Shh, it's a secret. It's a secret. No, we want all men to die and to become like Amazonian women. I think that's what a lot of men think. And so what's happened is instead of just going, yeah, I think it's fair that you guys want to be equal to us, equal pay, equal rights. No. They don't get that, and they feel that we're trying to take away their masculinity.
Yep.
And to me, that is what fragile masculinity is. It's this attitude that women, through being feminists, are taking away their right to be a man. How far off am I, Damo?
No, you're that's a good opinion. But it's kind of it's anything that makes them feel like less of a man, or that whole idea that it's what you do is not manly. It can fear of appearing too feminine or weak. It's showing too much emotion. Like that's gonna make me seem like weak, rather than just accepting that we have emotions and there's nothing wrong with having emotion. I mean, it's used to describe an anxiety which is experienced by men who feel that doing certain things causes them to fall short of the societal idea of manhood.
Okay, so last week at Auskick, I had to separate the teams into teams because there's like 60 kids, and one lot of 8 kids got pink, bibs. The disaster. The children, Benjamin just took his pink bib and just went, yeah, okay, cool. The rest of them were freaking out. I had to keep saying to them, and the other dad who was helping me was like, it's just a colour. It's just a colour. One child dropped to the ground saying, I'm not wearing that girl colour. Yeah. His mum then had to fight him into it. And she goes, oh, he's just so anti-pink. And I nearly said to her, that's you. You're creating that by allowing your son to think that pink is a less of a colour to be wearing because he's a boy. So it starts...
someone...
Yeah. Sorry.
Someone did it. No, that's fine. I was just saying someone had to teach them. I'm just agreeing with you. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was just fascinating how little boys, it's just a stupid colour. I love pink, but anybody can love pink. And they've this attitude that it's less because it's a colour that's traditionally associated with women.
And it's like, Brad Pitt wore a skirt to some event recently.
Oh, he looked fucking awesome too.
It made, it's news. Like, oh, look, a man wearing skirt.
Woo!
Why is it news? It's news because of fragile masculinity. Because people are like, oh, no, skirts are for women. Socrates wore a skirt. Like all the old ancient, like look at those. What's that movie with the 300?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They all wore skirts.
Yeah. I mean, look at samurai.
Yeah.
Are they wearing, is that what they're wearing? Sort of like.
Well, they have pants, but they have like that's part of their armour. Or Scottish Highlanders wearing kilts.
Yeah.
Like, and they didn't even wear underwear.
No. Ooh.
So it's oh god, I was like, you need to fan yourself when you made that noise. Yeah. Scottish men with no underwear.
It's been a while, okay?
Okay. It is that kind of, and that is the fragile masculinity. It's that like, oh no, I can't wear makeup, or like when you see, and homophobia, like when because that idea, and I know it doesn't happen as much these days, but like going back in through generations, that idea that like you can't be around gay people because they'll probably make you gay.
Don't have anal sex.
Yeah, don't have anal sex with anyone or you will end up gay. Yeah. No, guaranteed. Throwback.
Yes, I know, right. Yeah, no, definitely. I think that you if you touch someone, you'll become gay.
Yep.
Yeah, no, definitely. I can't. It's just such a scary attitude.
Actually, you know what this makes me think of, right? Now, there's a woman on my social media who I actually sent her a DM this week, just like giving my support of what she posts. And then she came back to me and said, look, I've seen what you post and blah, 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 and thank you very much for being an ally of women. Because she posts a lot of stuff about what we spoke about last week with men getting praise for doing the basic minimum of being a parent.
Babysitting.
Babysitting, yeah. So she made this huge post, right, about her ex, where like he'd done some pathetic, like, an extra day or something, and people are like, oh, that's so wonderful, I'll go him.
So wonderful.
And it's like, no, it's his damn expectation. So I mean, and I said to her, I said, hey, blank name, just want to let you know I completely agree with what you post about men. It's honestly fucking disgusting how inequitable things are. Men don't get it, and this is in this fucked up society isn't going to be, and this fucked up society isn't doing enough to change things. It makes me angry. And she said, I love your post too, and your comments about equality on a lot of posts, because I do. I go into like that relationship rules and shit like that, and just be like, shut the fuck up with your stupid gender biases. And she says, it's an honor having you as an ally, and I stand with you too, brother. Which was really nice. And I said, thank you. It means a lot. The whole reason we do the podcast is to educate men on the patriarchy. Because we're not anti-men. I'm a man.
No, and I have sons.
I have great male friends. But what we need to do is change for the world, because we don't understand oppression.
No.
Okay? I think that people who hear that word and they're like, oh, but women aren't oppressed. Yes, they are. Okay, historically, women have been oppressed by men. And I'm not talking about oppression like, okay, black people and slavery.
No.
That's like, textbook oppression.
Yeah.
Okay? But women have been oppressed in a sense of told how to dress, told how to act.
Even, I'll use my marriage as an example. So when I was about to get married, I said, I want to stay Sky Pemba. Everyone knows my surname. I don't want to, I love my name. My dad has 2 daughters. I think it's really important that I stay who I am, but I will still be married. His response was, if we don't if you don't change your name to my surname, we don't get married. That was his response.
Right.
And so what I should have done was I should have gone, oh, well, then we're not getting married then because I'm staying Sky Pemba. So instead, I changed my surname like an idiot because he demanded that I change it because that's what you do when you get married.
Yep. Here's a good one.
Yeah.
Women's razors or shaving for women.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a really good example of the patriarchy. Okay.
Yeah. How expensive they are? Yeah.
No. Oh, well, just that whole thing of like marketing something, making it pink and saying it's for women. Like I saw a Bic lighter, not a lighter, a Bic pen, hers for women because it was pink. It's fucking what? I think Ellen did an episode on like that kind of shit.
I mean, I do love pink, so.
Well, they'll suck you right in. They can charge you extra for it. Capitalism oppressing women. Yeah. So shaving, okay. Prior to 1915, razors were not marketed for women. Okay, so if we go back through history, there was periods of time where men didn't shave, right? Beards were their status symbol and moustaches and whatnot. But then coming through, like, because of capitalism, it's like, well, a well-shaven man is an attractive man. Oh, and it's all about attracting the opposite sex. But then in 1915, the Gillette Razor Company went, what if we tell women that being hairy is ugly? All right?
Yeah.
So they told women in their advertising, and I've got here like an ad for women saying that like shaving, it's a good dressing and good grooming will keep the underarms white and smooth. And the reason is because it will make you more attractive. So basically their whole marketing was we can sell twice as many razors if we convince women they have to shave too, because traditionally shaving was for your beard. And in those days, in 1915, who was seeing women's body hair?
Just their partner?
Their partner and themselves.
Yeah.
So it's not like today where we wear singlets and, and bikinis, so people trim their bikini line because it doesn't look that great for men or women. Even men. Men wearing budgie smugglers with the pubes hanging out the side.
Yeah, blah.
Not cool.
No.
It's not cool. I mean, I'm a hairy guy. I wouldn't bother. I would not wear Speedos because it's not going to look good on me. It's not a cool thing. Like, you'd have to wax just so you don't look like freaking Borat.
Yeah.
It's just gross.
So there's a lot of social media out there about women like letting their natural hair out and like stopping and no longer shaving their underarms, not worrying about their bikini line, etc. And I think it's amazing, but also I just can't do it.
Well, that's the thing. And I've spoken to other women who are just like, yeah, no, thanks. I'll go get lasered up and I do not want any hair. And it's not about being vain. It's like sometimes hair can be a bit gross if you like, I don't know, in a personal hygiene sense as well. And that's your own choice. That's not saying that if you are someone who chooses to be hairy, that you're gross.
Yeah.
But it's different for individuals. But that in itself is that is an example of toxic masculinity forcing women, telling women that they're unattractive if they don't shave their armpits, despite the fact that not one single person on earth at the time was seeing a woman's armpits. So what they're saying, right, is your husband who already has you, or your partner who already has feelings for you, who already has agreed to get naked with you and have sex, although how naked are they, is disgusted by your body hair.
Okay, so next question. Yeah. Where the fuck then how did we end up at purely shaven like bikini lines, like to the point
porn.
So it's all porn.
Like you're talking like completely Brazilian.
Yeah.
Okay. No, the Brazilian comes from Brazil for G-strings. Because the smaller the G-string gets till it's like just basically a little triangle.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you watch porn through the years, okay, so in the 70s,
it's gotten less and less. Yeah.
In the 70s, big bushes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then going through the 80s and 90s, there's like the little landing strips and stuff. Men still had a genital, like hair in the genitals.
Yes.
But then going through the 2000s to now, nobody has hair in their genitals. Not even men don't have hair in their genitals.
Yeah.
The reason is because you can see more.
Okay.
And people like to see more graphic detail. People like to see vulvas.
Yes, and I feel like in the 70s it was more like wide angle. There wasn't so many close-ups.
No, and because you couldn't see anything with the close-ups anyway. So these days and you don't need the close-ups to see what's going on because it is. You can see and that's why there's no hair in porn is because penetration is. My chair is giving me shit. Sorry, I'm just gonna.
It's fine.
There we go.
Okay.
Just clicking. Yeah, so the penetration is more appealing to people if they can see what's going on. And in turn, that's made the rest of society go, well, I'm going to do that too.
Yeah.
And plus, it also lends itself to ease of use for oral sex as well.
Yeah. Okay.
If there's less hair for men and women.
True. No. Oh, no, I was just curious. I just was curious that how it's... But you're right, it is all about how good you look in a Brazilian bathing suit. Let's be honest. Yeah.
And don't you think though, right? Here's another one.
Yeah.
So you get people who try and shame others. Okay. Once again, not necessarily a male thing, but it's pretty toxic. People try and shame others for what they do. So people, let's say there'll be people who want to grow their hair who will shame those who shave and shame what I'm getting at is people shaming men for liking women with no body hair, okay? And insinuating that means you're into
pedophiles.
children.
Yes, that is my pet hate. Yes.
No, it does not, because there is nothing... It doesn't... Having no hair doesn't make you look like a child. It makes you look like an adult with no hair.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, so that's a really fucked up way of looking at it. And then that makes me go... And it's like that... Getting back to that whole don't be around gay people because they'll make you gay. Are you sure you're not already gay? If you're thinking that,
right?
If you think that you can if you can be made gay that easily, by
gay.
just being around, you're probably already damn gay, and then you've suppressed it, and you can't deal with the fact it's all right. You can be gay, and if you don't want to be gay, or if you don't think you are gay because you want to have sex with men but you're attracted to women, that's okay too.
Yeah,
you're allowed to have sex with men and women, and that doesn't make you gay.
No, doesn't that make you bisexual?
It makes you bisexual, and it doesn't, or pansexual, because if you want to have sex with trans people, or you don't care you don't see gender, it's not gay. I know this sounds funny, and some people might be like, "Huh?" It's not gay to have sex with another man. It's gay to have feelings for another man, to be romantically involved with another man.
Let's be honest, in jail. They're not gay. They're just horny. Or
they're just horny.
It for power.
That's right.
Or just using it for power.
I mean, let's not. There might be plenty of gay men in prison, but there's
they're not all gay.
No, but that's where the term prison sex comes from.
Yeah. Don't bend over in the shower, etc. Yeah.
So no, but that whole idea of they're frozen, and I mean they're shaven. Why did I say frozen?
No.
I'm looking around. I've got a cookbook here that says
Let it go.
Says cool
Let
food.
It go.
Yeah. But yeah, the idea that so let's put it on its head. So a man who's into a woman who's completely shaved or prefers clean shaven genitalia to hairy, they get attacked for being into children. But have you ever seen the difference between a man who's shaved and a man who's not shaved? If you've got the full bush going on there, it actually obscures part of your penis, right?
Yes.
So, in effect, when you shave a penis, an erect shaven penis looks larger.
Yes. So it's all about...
right?
Yeah, right?
So therefore, you can't tell me that if you shave your pubic hair, it makes you look like a little boy, because little boys don't have big dicks like that.
Well, I mean, as I now know from the comparisons done this afternoon.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, too funny. I don't remember doing that, but...
So, I'll just tell you a little bit of a story. It's because, this is children, right?
Yep.
I went to check, this is a few months ago, I went to check my oldest son's iPad, and I came across a screensaver with a guy with a giant penis, right?
Oh, okay.
Like, next level. And I went, what the heck? Anyway, then immediately my younger says, that's because his friend so-and-so put it on there for his screensaver. And then I found out talking to my friend that this kid who's friends with, he's now left WA, is been telling them about porn and telling them to search things like girls sucking boys' penis and like all this stuff. And I'm like, so it's this new generation of YouTube kids.
It's so easily accessed.
Yeah, and knowing way too much about penises and like oral sex.
Hopefully, what it's going to do is in like 5-10 years' time, women are going to get better sex because boys are learning about it.
Fucking fingers crossed. I hope so. I hope so.
Like my generation, we learned about sex by getting a VHS cassette that one of your mates' dad watched or brother or someone and had to get, and it's been, or you look at magazines. So, if you look at it in the right way, porn can educate. However, there is some fucked up porn out there.
And not just that, I feel, maybe from a little bit of experience, but also just from talking, porn is creating boys, guys, men, whatever, who are forgetting that an orgasm is not just about like vaginal penetration. So I feel like porn is not helping.
Well, if you listen to old mate from a couple of episodes ago, vaginas are only there to serve the purpose of pleasuring a man.
That's true.
Remember, because
yes,
once you've had a baby, your vagina is no good for anything else.
It's useless.
There's no mention of like giving pleasure to the woman. No. But no, and it's also that like back in the olden days, we've gone from like toxic masculinity to porn, but that's all good. That's the nature of the show. But back in the old days, and I'm talking like when I was a boy, porn was like you watch an entire video. Okay, now you might fast forward through the dialogue parts, but they tried to construct it like it was a real life scenario.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
It's
like
awesome.
It had a story and stuff, and like there's one about pirates, and that one actually had but it's still just kind of. There was context to it. So it's like, the girl goes into the lawyer's office and like she cuts a deal like, oh, well, I'm sure there's something we can work out to pay your fees. But these days, porn is scene by scene. So even a full-length feature porn, which you don't, I don't know, do you still buy those?
You don't really get, I don't think, anymore. Do they exist?
I think they do, but like it's a niche market now.
Let's have a look.
Porn generally is... It's scenes or compilations, or it's like it's just the sex, or it's just like it starts off with, maybe an interview with the girl saying, "Oh, hi, I'm blah 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 and blah blah blah" on the casting couch or whatever, and then it's into the sex. They hardly ever have scenarios.
No, they don't.
That changes your view of sex. Like as a teenager, I'm sure, and I can't speak because I'm not one, but I'm sure that. It changes your perception of sex because rather than telling you that there needs to be some sort of interaction as humans that will lead to the sex, it's just there's going to be the sex.
Oh, this one looks good. It's called The Funeral, and it looks like it's about a funeral that eventually will become just sex. But anyway, I'm not going to watch it. But
that's all right.
I just
in your own time.
Shut up. I've literally just Googled full feature porn.
Yep.
And Tarzan.
Yeah, I mean, and there's like
I just had to put my phone down.
And there's still porn parodies.
Yeah.
Like I think there's a Big Bang Theory.
Oh, really?
Porn parody. And you wouldn't even have to change the name for that. It'd just be the Big Bang Theory. But so there's parodies of like, I'm sure there'd be, but what's that rule? Is it Rule 42?
You've talked about it. I can never remember, but yes. I was telling my mum about Rule 42. She was like fascinated.
So you just try it. You just put in like Frozen, as I said before. If you put Frozen and the word porn, I guarantee that you're going to find a video of like, Olaf fucking Elsa.
Okay, hang on. Frozen porn videos. Frozen Princess Elsa blowjob.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. You know what? Actually, speaking of porn, a couple of years ago, okay, so there's the
oh my God, there's so much.
But something to do with pandas, not the WWF, the World Wildlife Federation or something. But anyway, pandas.
Yeah.
they're not real great at sex.
They're not. They're terrible at it.
They're terrible. Like they just don't know what to do. They don't have the urge. Like, and when they're in captivity, they couldn't care less. All they want to do is eat. And in the wild, they're just not the brightest of animals. They're cuddly, but they're just not doing great. That's why they're dying out because unlike black bears and brown bears in North America, which are quite angry, or grizzlies.
Yes.
They're just docile things.
They really are.
But so what they did was they came up with this concept in conjunction with Pornhub, right? Where they got people, and this crosses over into furry territory, so there would have been people who were right into it, to dress up as pandas and have sex and film it and upload it to Pornhub under the panda porn category so they could show it to pandas. To encourage pandas to have sex.
Did it work?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not a panda. But there is, if you go onto Pornhub, and here's something for the people out there, and just put panda porn, there is user-submitted videos of people in panda suits. However, what had also happened is it made professional porn stars or OnlyFans stars or whatever take it that one step further and just dress up in panda suits and have sex. So the stuff that's user submitted, you've got people acting like they're pandas and having sex like a panda would, which would be, I assume, doggy style. Whereas then you've got people in panda suits giving blowjobs. And I'm like, pretty sure pandas don't do that. And if you show them that, that's just going to confuse them.
Definitely. I'm just reading articles now about pandas and porn and...
Yep.
Yeah. Wow, okay.
So it was a thing.
But also, I'm fascinated by how much Elsa porn is on. I was totally shocked when I Googled frozen porn. So many Elsa blowjob porn videos. Oh, look, my God.
Not gonna lie, Elsa's damn hot. Yeah. And you know that scene where she's actually singing "Let It Go" and she rips out the ponytail and she's like, "Let it go."
Yeah.
Oof. I tell you, if she was real, that's a scene.
Wow, I tell you what.
I guarantee there would be plenty of prepubescent boys rewinding that scene and not knowing why it's so interesting.
Well, they can watch it all on Pornhub.
This makes me feel funny for some reason. But there's also Simpsons porn, so it's Marge Simpson, and it's just...
that's so... yeah. It's all wrong. No, it's not wrong at all.
It's not wrong. It's I'm not necessarily... it's there's hentai and there's... Oh, here's one you can look up. Futunari. Google that. Futanari, I think.
Okay. Do I have to put porn or just Futunari?
No, just Futunari. There's going to be people listening to this who are going to Google this. Don't Google blue waffle, people. Just don't do that.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
So you want to describe what Futunari is?
Well, it's just basically hermaphrodite, isn't it?
It's women.
Androgyny, yeah.
Yeah, but their penises are extraordinarily large.
Yes.
Because it's animated, right?
Yeah, it's all animated, very large penis women.
Yeah. And we're talking the size of a baseball bat large, yeah.
Obviously, you know how in Pornhub the videos just start playing? And so as you're scrolling, and I'm that's why I'm laughing, because it's happening in real moments.
Oh, did we talk about porn roulette? What is it, RedTube roulette?
No.
Okay, so here's a game. This is from probably 10 years ago. RedTube's still a site. I don't know if they still do it this way, but unlike most websites, in the URL, how it will have www. or http:/:www. Name of website / So you've got the domain and the subdomain and stuff. So if the subdomain for RedTube is a number, a numerical number. Yeah. So instead of having donkey porn or whatever, okay, it'll have a number. So the idea is you go to RedTube, you put in the first part of the URL, and then when the / comes in, you put in a random series of digits. And I think it's 6. Back in those days, it was 6 digits. It's probably 8 now. But you put in a random series of digits and you hit enter, and that number will correspond to one of the videos on that site. Now, the part where the roulette part comes in, like Russian roulette, RedTube roulette, is no matter what the video is, you have to masturbate.
Oh, really?
So it could be anything. It could, because like it's going to be anything. I mean, it could be like, midget dressed as a lampshade having sex with Marge Simpson, and you got to watch it. You got to watch it all the way through.
This is this is such a random conversation.
I know, right?
And what's even more random is that we are fully sober.
Yeah. But I'm going to take a poll out there. How many people listening don't watch porn? I don't think it's many of you, or haven't never watched porn.
Yeah, have never watched it. Have never watched it. I would say 0.
None. Everyone's watched porn. Or seen it. Oh, okay. Here's one last porn story.
Okay.
Before we're at an hour and 5, so we'll start to wrap it up soon.
Yes.
So I was at a party years ago when I was working at Chicken Treat. Okay.
Yeah.
So I got invited to this party, and everyone at the party was at a person's house who was gay. Her and her partner lived there, right? Mm-hmm. So the majority of the people, and let's say I'm going to say off the top of my head, there was 30, maybe 40 people there. Mm-hmm. Only about 5 or 6 were straight.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So everybody was gay. So it's just walking around and it's just like, obviously it doesn't bother me whether you're straight or gay or whatever. But it was quite entertaining. Actually, I was having a conversation with a guy in the kitchen, and in mid-sentence, he's put his hand on my chest and he goes, "You're straight, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why?" And he goes, "Oh, fuck, I thought so." Anyway, carry on, and just kept having conversation because he was like deciding whether he should hit on me or not. But he's just worked it out. He's like, "Oh, my gaydard's not triggering here. I better ask." I'm like, no, you're right, dude. Sorry. Anyway, but yeah, so like someone called me into the living room. Okay, so we go into there, and there's like people laying around all over the place on the couches. There's beanbags, people on the floor. So there's about 15 to 20 people in this room, and on the TV is gay porn. Right. And they've called me. They're, Damo, come in here and check this out. Come in here. And like they're snickering and laughing. I walk in there and they're like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "Well, that looks like one man with his penis in another man's anus." And they're like, "Yeah, what do you think?" And I'm like, I think that it's 2 men having sex. What do you want me to think? And they're like, "What, it doesn't faze you or bother you in any way?" And I'm like, "No. It's 2 men having sex."
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. Okay, boring.
That backfired. They were expecting you to be like, "That's disgusting."
Like they expected me to be shocked in some way. And I'm like, well, I've never seen 2 men have sex, but I pretty much assume that's how they do it. So, whatever. Carry on.
You ruined it for them.
I
They
did.
were ready for like a drama, and there was no drama.
No, it was fun. But I mean, it was also, when was that? Jesus, that would have been the 90s.
Yeah.
So, like attitudes towards gay people was still pretty messed up. I mean, it was only 20 years ago.
I think I think it's still slightly messed up. People still have. Oh yeah, I mean that's it's getting better, but like
that's toxic masculinity once again. Mm-hmm. And I just think like I haven't seen one single person like that has come out in my world who has been met with, any of their friend group going against that or being against that. But I'm not them as well. They could probably tell us that they have. But like I've had friends come out to me and it's like, yep, no worries at all. It's you got to be supportive of it. I know a person who announced their gender change on Facebook.
Good for them.
And people just went, fuck awesome. Yeah, well done. And then now they go by their feminine name on Facebook and all of their photos of them as a woman. And it was like, that's bold because they're not doing it privately. They're doing it everyone on Facebook, which is not necessarily their close friend group, which I think's remarkably brave.
I think good on them. Yeah, it's very brave and very fantastic. And also if younger people are seeing that, they can be inspired to go, oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
I want to do that too. Because, like I think It's interesting. Like my nephew has a couple of friends in his friendship group. One's non-binary. These are 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
One's non-binary and one's gay. And I'm like, this is so awesome. This, like in the 90s when I was in like high school, this wouldn't have been a thing.
Well, you didn't get to say you were gay until after high school.
Exactly.
Like, I know people that came out after high school and it's like, yeah, we knew, man. Mm-hmm. Like you were clearly gay. But
yeah, one of my good friends, one of my best friends, so gay. But I was at an Anglican school in the 90s.
Yeah. Like, on a scale of 1 to Julian Clary, they were pretty gay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, I was such a fag hag, still am. You know what I mean? Like that, it was pretty obvious. We're just hanging out together, being awesome.
That's their word, by the way.
Oh, I know, but I am.
Yeah, I know. For that term, for that context, I'll allow it. But
thank you.
I treat that word like the N word. It's their word.
Yeah, but I was called that, and I hung around lots of gay boys, that's so right. I feel like I was allowed to.
Yeah, you can say that, but no, I'm usually very, very cautious with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
apologies, anyone who I've offended. But
I don't think you've offended anyone.
Literally, what they called me.
Although we've got history of offending people. We offended a poor man a few weeks ago because I was making fun of misogynists and their spelling. And their grammar.
That's true.
For them offended a man, and then we offended someone now recently because we said I'm not going to say it. But we said things about their boyfriend.
Yeah.
Just
don't say anything. Just say nothing.
I won't say anything.
Don't say any word.
However, I have told stories tonight about people who exist out in reality, and I can guarantee that if they hear this, they might know that it's them, but I can also guarantee that no one else on earth will.
Exactly. And that's the whole point of us not saying, Johnny Smith from Smith Street.
Who I knew from 1928 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not that old,
No, neither of us are that old.
All right. Anyway, I think we've reached the end, and the last half of the episode was fucking hilarious. So
it was crazy.
I hope people hung in there and learnt something about pornography.
I did. There's way too much frozen porn out there. That's all I'm saying.
And everybody, I encourage that you play yourself a game of Red Tube Roulette.
Do it.
And if you have to have a crying wank, then I do apologise, but that's part of the game. Don't look away.
Don't look away.
Hopefully you get something that goes for like 30 seconds and you don't
Fingers
have
crossed.
to finish.
Fingers crossed.
That's the difficult part.
Oh my God, stop.
And then you can go on to something else you want to watch. Or maybe that's one of the rules, is you just have to keep watching.
Forever.
You have to keep rouletting until you finish.
Oh my gosh, stop. That's enough.
All right.
That's
awesome.
enough. All right.
Cheers. Bye.
Don't be confused by my apparent lack of ceremony. My mind is clear. I may be low, miles high up in the distance. I want you near.
you for listening to In My Lounge Room intro music, written and performed by Damien McKay. This week's outro song, performed by Sky Pember and Damien McKay, originally performed by Leonardo's Bride, written by Dean Manning.